All right, welcome everyone. Today is Wednesday, the 8th of May, 2024, and this is the Cluster API project meeting. Cluster API is a sub-project of Kubernetes SIGs, and as such, we follow their meeting guidelines, which basically means please treat everyone as you would expect to be treated, and explicitly so, please be kind to each other. And if you'd like to talk, please raise your hand and I will call on you. So at the beginning of our meetings, we like to give some time for new attendees to introduce themselves. So I will be quiet for 30, 40 seconds. And if you would like to say hi to the community, please raise your hand and I'll call on you. And I think the raise hand option is under reactions for anyone who's new to using Zoom. Okay, I am not seeing any hands going up, so we will move on to the next part of our meeting, which is the open proposal readout, but I don't think we have any open proposals at the moment. So we will get into the regular discussion. And the first topic up is from me, which is convenient. So I've been, as part of the discussions on Carpenter that we've been having over the last, weeks and months, I've started to work on a document to highlight some of the, I guess, like sticking points or areas where there might be gaps in Cluster API or features that might be useful, not just for Carpenter, but for other things as well. And so I've been trying to collect these here. I'm still working on this document as I'm, kind of like still doing research, but I wanted to share the document in preparation for perhaps having a meeting next week. And ideally, I'd like to set up like an hour meeting on Monday or Tuesday, sometime in the morning, Eastern US time, to help make it a little easier on the Europeans. And really, I want to get Fabrizio in there as well because he had offered to have this with us. But if worst comes to worst, I suppose we could do some of this at the feature group meeting next week, although we might need more time than that. So yeah, so I wanted to share it here. Please, Matt Booth already took a look and gave me some great comments. If anyone's interested, please, take a look. These are just kind of things that I've been thinking about, areas that are difficult to work through in Carpenter. And like I said, I will announce whatever we do in the channel. So if anyone wants to come and chat about this, that would be great. And I guess Fabrizio, I don't know, do you have any are there any days better for you or worse for you, or do you have any preferences on that?
Let me say, usually Friday and Monday are the day with less meetings, but happy to let's figure this out.
Okay.
I think.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe if Monday's too soon, maybe I'll just plan for next Friday or something. But yeah, we can talk about it offline. All right, cool. So yeah, next topic is Stefan with a PR to optimize the Dependabot config. So please, Stefan.
Yep. Can you open that link? That's mostly an FYI for providers if they have similar problems and might want to have a similar solution. So basically I don't know when we started this thing, but we were using Dependabot a lot the last few months, 1 to 2 years, to bump all sorts of dependencies. We now have 3 different modules in core Cappy, and we have so many PRs from Dependabot. We're bumping actions, we're bumping dependencies across 3 modules. It's just, I would say on average, probably like 5 to 10 PRs every week, just in core Cappy. And if you're maintaining a bunch of repositories, you can take that times 4 or 5. That's really annoying. So what this PR is doing is basically just deduplicating PRs. Can you just go back for 1 second and then we can, sorry. Yeah. So basically in 3 ways. So basically the first listing here shows it. So with this config, we will only get at most 1 PR per week to bump all GitHub actions, 1 PR per week to bump all patch and minor versions, so multiple dependencies at the same time. And we will also only have 1 PR to bump dependencies in all 3 Go modules. Basically, Dependabot released a new beta feature last week, so you can define more than just 1 Go module to bump into. Can you go to back to files changed? So just to give a quick info here. So the first green section is basically just make sure that all GitHub actions are grouped into one PR, one group. And then you see this directories thing, that's a new field. You can just say, oh, I have like 3 modules lying around. And then also here, this group in line 30, basically it just made one group, which matches all dependencies, that's line 31. And then does patch and minor bumps. So I excluded major intentionally because usually there's something to do. I mean, it's mostly just Docker that actually has major versions that go up, but still. Yeah, and the rest of the PR is just dropping redundant stuff. But yeah, as I was saying, probably useful for other repos as well. We merged it today in Copy, in CapV. I will definitely also put it into controller tools. And control runtime is a bit more complicated, but I'll try to apply some learnings there as well, just to get rid of that bump toil, basically. Yep, that's it.
Cool. Thank you, Stefan. Yeah, this is nice. Like, yeah, agreed with what everybody's saying in the chat here. Great to kind of reduce the amount of work that we have to go through. So
yeah, sometimes
definitely
you have to actually reduce work.
Thank you. Yeah, so thank you for removing that toil from some people's lives. Cool. Were there any questions or comments about the depend-about change there? Okay.
Maybe one comment.
Yeah.
So I think the one downside we have is that technically that increases the chance of hitting some sort of issue. I mean, if you bump all dependencies in one PR and one of them has a problem and doesn't compile anymore and you have to make a change, that might be a problem because, I mean, usually you could probably merge all the other dependencies, but that one you can't. But what we're going to do is just take that chance, and whenever we have to fix that one PR per week,
Right.
Either we open a new PR with fixes in there, or I mean, maintainers can just push on that existing branch and then someone else has to merge it. So that's how we're going to handle it for now. I think that's still less work than merging everything separately.
Yeah. And now that you've said that in this meeting, it means you have to be aware of how much trouble that fixing that one PR is, so that you can say then, okay, is that more trouble than doing all the other work? So like now that you've said it, like, you have to monitor it, right?
Oh yeah. Let's see.
Cool. Yeah, let's see. I'm optimistic.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Thank you, Stefan. Looks like you and Vince have the next topic about simplifying the backport policy. So please.
Yeah, Vince was saying that he potentially cannot join, and I don't see him here, so I just offered to mention it for him. So we were just talking, me and Vince and me, and basically the result is that I still have to take a look myself and think a bit about it, to be honest. But on a high level, the idea is just to drastically simplify our backport policy. I mean, currently, I think it's like if you put it in a Google Doc, it's probably 1 or 2 pages. What sort of stuff you're backporting under which circumstances. And I think, as far as I got it from Vince's idea, something like, we're definitely not going to backport breaking changes. But let's try otherwise to be a bit pragmatic and just backport things that are making sense. I think that's just, I'm mostly just bringing it up for awareness so people can think about it and comment on the PR and that sort of stuff, just to start a discussion. My personal opinion, and that's what we roughly do in controller runtime, as long as we're not backporting breaking changes or things that are risky, I think it's more beneficial to allow more backports, because I think it encourages people to actually contribute something to upstream if they don't have to wait 4 months to actually use what they contribute. And I think that's more important than having a strict policy and, have a list with like, oh, we can backport those 10, 15 things, but if you want to add a flag somewhere, that's not allowed. But that's just an spontaneous opinion. Let's just see where the discussion leads and what we want to do.
Yeah. And thanks for sharing your opinion too, because I think that's, I think it's important to kind of consider, all these extenuating effects when we look at that. And yeah, that's quite a reduction in the amount of backport policy there. So yeah, please, anyone in the community who's here or watching this, take a look at that PR and just, see if it inspires you to leave a comment or something. Yeah, an interesting discussion. Does anyone have questions or comments about this? All right. I'm not seeing any hands going up. So,
Sorry, Mike, I have just one
oh
general
yeah,
comment.
please.
I kind of agree with Stefan that yeah, we should simplify based on a simple part. So I'm trying to do a lot of cleanup and in the backlog we're down to something more than 200 issue and 30 PR when 1 month ago we were, or 2 months ago we were at 300 issue and 60 and what comes out from this exercise is some observation that we have a lot of great ideas, but we lack of people carrying things around. And digging a little bit into it, I took a look at the stats from the last year in terms of contributor, and basically it comes out that more than 60% of the work is done by 5 persons, basically, in cluster API. So that means that all those rules are kind of rules that those people makes for themselves. And so I agree with Stefan. We have to think about it because in all the lines that we are deleting, there is something that we learned over the past. But at the same time, I think that we should recognize that the state of the project, the number of contributors that currently we have, and make life as simple as possible for the folks that are contributing.
Excellent. Excellent points from both of you. I like the notion that, yeah, like if we lower the bar, in terms of getting backports in, it encourages people to do more. And Fabrizio, I think it's amazing, kind of the regression analysis you've done to look at how we're doing the work and who that falls on. I think that's an important part of this discussion as well. So thank you, thank you, Stefan and Vince, for bringing this up, and Fabrizio, thank you for looking into it as well. Are there any other questions or comments or, about this topic? All right, I'm not seeing any hands going up. So we'll move along, but thank you for bringing it up and yeah, encourage people to take a look at it. So Mohammed, you've got the next topic about issue 10544. Please take it away.
Hey everyone. So the issue is about the machine pool. So when you trying to clean up the machine pool, just to give a recap on the issue. So when you're trying to delete the machine pool, that's for cluster that is unreachable, it make the machine pool stuck from being deleted. That's because in the code, the finalizer, like it's trying to access the cluster, and then it return an error and then go to this stuck in loop. So to put it in context, so for the GitOps workflow, when you have like whenever orchestrator RGCD, for example, and you try to deprovision your cluster by removing the YAML file from Get, and the cluster has been deleted, that make the RGCD or the GitOps workflow stuck. So yeah, so the fix is easy. Like if you check down the BR, I pushed to the fix. But then I see some comments that is trying to say like have a graceful check. So I just want to follow up. Like, is it like, can we elaborate more on what is the graceful check? Or as the comment said, it's just a checking if the cluster is in deleting, so not even try to create a client. So we avoid this error from being, getting stuck. So any opinion, any objection on the fix that I have been made for this?
Yes, do we have who left the comment about that? Are they in the meeting today? Perhaps we could get a direct discussion going.
I think that was me.
We have a winner.
We had a we had a short talk about this issue, and we just recapped what the machine deployment controller is doing. I've not invested lots of time if that exactly is possible in the machine pool case, though. So yeah. So Matt at least gave a thumbs up to that comment, who was more involved in machine pools.
Yeah, I wrote in chat, but Matt is assigned to the issue, and I think he's looking into it. He has the.
I'm trying to raise my
expertise.
hand. Sorry,
Oh, okay.
I'm totally failing to find the controls on the new Zoom.
Yeah, you probably have the wrong Zoom version where emojis don't work for the screen shares.
But yeah, I assigned myself to this, and then I see Mohammed, you already had a PR out at that time. And if you want to click through to it, Fabrizio, I think that's where Christian's comment was. So I'm not entirely sure, but I think was the objection that we weren't checking the returned errors in the same way. You are checking the message, so it seems conceptually sort of similar to what we were suggesting.
Yeah, so there is like if you scroll down a bit, so it's checking first if the cluster is in delete. So that's okay. Like we're not even trying to create an accessor, you know. But if the cluster is not, in this case, like the cluster still is not deleting, it's just trying to delete the machine pool and the cluster is unreachable. The question is, the logic, should we delete the machine pool then, or just leave it there stuck until the user figure out the cluster is unreachable and then try to fix that? It's just in the GitOps workflow, you might don't even have access to the cluster. You just be able to push stuff to your Git and then, you know, Argo CD do the magic or whatever orchestration there. So, so yeah, so I'm not sure then, like, but of course, yeah, so if it's the cluster is on delete, that's fine. Then you don't even try to create like an accessor, so that's fine. But in the other case, that might be a bit logic that I'm not quite sure about it.
I see Stefan's got his hand up. Please, Stefan.
Yeah, just some comments. So I didn't look at the PR yet, and should do that before I give more concrete advice or something. In general, I'm not sure if it's that good to check on the error message, but okay, that's a minor thing. So I think in the machine deployment, what we do is essentially, we have a few cases where we just say, okay, it doesn't make sense under these circumstances to delete nodes. And then I think also in general, deleting nodes is something on a best effort basis. So we try to delete the nodes. If it doesn't work, it's fine. I think the reason why that's fine is because usually we try to delete nodes, but it's not necessarily our responsibility to delete nodes, because you have a cloud provider. The cloud provider has a node lifecycle controller, and the node lifecycle controller is responsible to make sure that when it looks at the infrastructure and at the nodes, that it automatically cleans up the nodes. I think that's why we only make it like best effort in, I guess it's actually probably the machine the machine controller, not machine deployment controller. So the machine controller. And I think probably something like this is also fine in the machine pool controller. It's just probably a question, how do we take the high level logic that we have in the machine deployment controller and apply it to what exactly we're doing in the machine pool controller? So, and I have to look into that to see, to say, okay, let's do it like that exactly. But I think in general, it's okay that it's optional. It's just a matter of figuring out the right circumstances under which we should skip this part or not return an error if it fails or something.
Okay. I actually have questions. So why then the machine pool is trying to delete the node? Like, as you said, it shouldn't be the machine pool responsibility. Like if there are, so in the case we have this AWS Rosa stuff. So actually who delete the node is the AWS machine, the Rosa machine pool. So I'm not sure why then the machine pool is trying to delete the node as long as there's an infrastructure reference for it. So if the machine pool has an infrastructure reference, so then it becomes the infrastructure reference responsibility to delete the node. And this is what is actually happening in the logic there. So having
Yeah,
the
I'm not sure, to be honest, why that's the case. I could imagine, I mean, I know how it's implemented in machine controller, and I think it's basically we first delete the infrastructure machine, then delete the bootstrap config, then we delete the node, and then we remove the finalizer and the machine is gone. I could imagine that the reason might be that the node just goes away faster than the cloud provider would recognize it. I have no clue about machine pools. Also, there might be, I don't know, there might be very different implementations of machine pools. That's sort of a thing with machine pools. So I don't know
initially I
how
would
this is across infrastructures. Yep, I'm done.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, initially I was trying, I would make it like checking if the infrastructure reference, so then don't delete the node, just let the infrastructure reference delete it. But then I thought about it, that might, make problem for other people or something. So I'm just trying to be safe on it. So that's why I'm not really sure if the logic is like that is correct or yeah.
It
Yeah,
sounds like
I think the best way forward is probably we just take a look at the PR. Sorry, when we get around to it, which should be in the next few days usually, and then let's just continue the discussion on the PR. I think once we all had a bit of time to look at the code and compare with the machine controller, etc., and then you get better guidance than ad hoc right now.
Fabrizio, you've got your hand up, please.
Yeah, it is a matter of timing. So if during the normal workflow you delete the node when you are deleting the machine, things happen, let me say, almost synchronously. But if you defer the deletion to the CPI will call the node gone after 5 minutes if I'm not gone. So for 5 minutes, you will have basically a ghost node in your cluster. And so it is during the normal workflow, it is always better to do things synchronously. But when you are deleting the cluster, your cluster, yeah, I don't remember it is 5 minutes, but it takes some time. The CPI takes some time before calling the node gone. And it depends by CPI and CPI probably. But when you are deleting the cluster, basically the entire cluster is going away, also the control plane. So you can basically ignore this. And I think this is the gist on the discussion on the issue. Then for the PR, I will leave the discussion to happen async, like we do. There are people assigned, and so it seems we're good.
All right. Good topic, Mohammed. Are there any other comments or questions about this? Or I guess it sounds like we need to kind of continue the discussion that's happening on the review. Mohammed, do you feel this has been helpful to you, at least in terms of kind of next steps and whatnot?
Yeah, sure, of course. Yeah, that's fine. It's just clarifying the comment, but that's fine. Let's continue in the VR, and then like if any comments I can fix it or whatever, and then we can finish this on the VR.
Okay, cool. Great. Yeah, thanks for bringing it though. Good discussion topic. So that is the end of our regular discussion topics for today. Although we do have one provider update. So if you thought of a topic you'd like to add, now's the time to add it to the discussion topics. Would someone like to speak about the CAPZ update?
Willie, you did all the work, but I'm happy to. Well, it's kind of self-evident as usual. We had a 115. Oh, go for it, Willie.
Oh yeah, no, it's nothing too crazy. Yeah, just new minor release with 115 and a few pretty big fixes in the patch releases, mostly for cluster class with AKS. There were some issues with it there, so make sure to check it out. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Willie. And it looks like no one took the call to action to add another topic. So I think we are at the end of our meeting. Going in 3, 2, 1. All right. Thanks for coming out, everyone. Good discussion topics. And I guess we'll see you next week, probably.